Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Michael Noland here, and tonight we're going to talk about bands, artists who are out touring who need to quit touring immediately. Now in tonight's video I'm going to be drawing from an article that was written by Gary Graff. His article asking the age-old question, is using teleprompters and backing tracks cheating? Yeah, I know. A title practically lifted from a video I've already done, but we're going to cover different aspects of this tonight. Now, why Gary chose to use a teleprompter as a cheating device in his article goes beyond me. Teleprompters, for the most part, I don't use one myself, have been part of what channels on YouTube have used, TV shows, all of that. I have no trouble with that. I've been known to use a music stand to serve for the same type of device myself occasionally. Lyrics are hard to remember, and especially in these big arenas where the individual artist isn't making a lot of personal eye contact to the audience. And even with a teleprompter, there's always time in the performance for those individuals who need them to provide eye-to-eye contact to their fans. So for the most part, I'm going to ignore the teleprompter question. If any of you guys have problems with teleprompters being part of a live act, let me know. I'd like to hear your reasonings on why you think those are cheating devices. But backing tracks, you guys know in my mind, that's not cheating. It should be outlawed. Using them and lip syncing has been the end of certain artists' career, and rightfully so. And now we see a plethora of bands and artists using them and getting away with it. But you know, this isn't a brand new thing, evidently. Gary in his article harkens back to August 12th and 13th of 1978 to Electric Light Orchestra performances, and the band sued Brass Ring Productions when they played there at the Pontiac Silverdome. Of course, they were suing for monies not paid. Brass Rings Productions countersued, stating that the band had used backing tracks and therefore hadn't played live. That was the basis of the whole damn suit, folks. Now, using backing tracks and things like that, television shows are famous for this. But generally speaking, for live concerts, especially classic rock acts, this has not been the norm. So much so that in the early 2000s, when acts were caught doing exactly that, they lost their careers, as I've already stated. Now, I was shocked that using backing tracks live went back quite this far, but then I started thinking about 1978. You know, that was about 5 years before I bought my first high-speed recording tape deck, mainly because Bruce Springsteen had done the same thing on his Nebraska album, and I wanted to kind of get into that, and indeed I did. I must have made 200 recordings over the next 5 years. And so this is just 5 years before that technology, and that technology would lead to, in just a very short time, digital workstations as well. So in the end, I guess it's possible that this was true. And if Jeff Lynne and company are guilty of that, shame on them. And by the way, Jeff, that goes for these days as well. Now, I am a huge Electric Light Orchestra fan, and Jeff Lynne fan specifically. But you guys know, if I love an artist, that does not mean I will not criticize something about them from time to time. And if Jeff Lynne's guilty of this, well, I calls him as I sees him, folks. Now, in past videos, I've criticized Motley Crue, Kiss, David Coverdale, and others for doing exactly that. You know, it was members in the Motley band that even opened up their mouths saying that would be cheating, that they didn't agree with that, and then later one of them coming out and admitting that they had been using quote, technology for a while. Well, obviously, with one of them even recently mentioning that they've even fooled around with vocals with that technology. And we've caught the drums starting live before Tommy Lee's ass ever hits that drum throne, haven't we? David Coverdale has admitted freely that he's got backup singers that are hitting the notes he can't. And so, folks, that is lip syncing. If you're hiding those singers in the back and he just stops singing and opens his mouth as those other background vocalists take over, that's lip syncing. It doesn't have to be just taped. Same thing with Paul Stanley, but you know, Kiss has always been one of those bands. They're almost like the Monkees to me. You know, how the Monkees on one hand was nothing more than a TV show with 4 actors hired to play a fictional rock band, somehow morphing into more than that, right? And Kiss, who was an actual rock band, morphing into a cartoon of the 4 original members. And of course, they accomplished that almost opposite effect by using caked on makeup right from the beginning, making bizarre made-for-TV films and comic books colored in blood. And with idiots like Zach Myers from Shinedown saying, well, the other bands are doing it, you kind of got to ask yourself, how did this come to such a head? Why do we have a divided audience for the first time in live music? Well, I'll tell you, part of it is the internet. Part of it is the advancement of what you can do with a computer and the gaming that goes along with that, the virtual reality aspects of all of that. I think, especially with younger concert goers, they're more accepting of what is the not quite real. And you know what, folks? That's dangerous. If we as a society are becoming numb to reality, then what the hell are we doing at live events? Now, in the article, Gary says that it's often extremely hard to even tell if there are backing tracks. Gary, it's not extremely hard. Count how many people are on the stage. Ask yourself, how many instruments are you hearing? And that's the tale. But I understand that. Not everybody's a musician, and not everybody's hearing everything. You know, it's just like the vinyl community, the CD community, the streaming community, for that matter. A lot of those folks aren't musicians. They have trouble just with a good set of headphones hearing what instrument is here versus there. And so often it's the totality of the sound that they hear. And you know what? I'm a little jealous because the second you pick up an instrument, you dumb down, so to speak. The true experts of music has always been the rather uneducated audience that listens to it. You then have to learn to play something that will be acceptable to the audience you just left. In other words, the so-called uneducated masses who listen to and basically pay for the music we listen to. But you know, you can't just blame it on the younger audience either, can you? There are plenty of people in my generation that are showing up at these concerts and are perfectly accepting of what they're listening to. Now, some of them aren't musicians either, and so there's a high percentage that they may be being fooled as well. But you know, it's interesting. Gary's article, other articles I've read on the internet, some of my own videos are broaching this subject really for the first time in any particular fashion, and people are slowly waking up to the fact that they're being fooled. Now think about it. The old story, the emperor's new clothes, right? And he's actually naked. Everybody in the crowd is so embarrassed that they praise his clothing, and it is a child asking its mommy, but mommy, why does the emperor have no clothes? You know what that kid is? He's a watchdog. You know, I feel like we need to get back to an almost innocent insistence on purity, especially when it comes to live anything. I mean, what's next? You're going to go to a ball game and they'll insert the ball later? Nobody would stand for that. And yet, look at what people are standing for now. You know, this has got to stop, folks. There are still bands out there doing it right. Ian Gillan from Deep Purple has stated that this is not only wrong, but that the band plays what you hear. Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes has stated that if you need to use that bleep, it's time to hang it up. Now, the article goes on to say, as I have said in past videos, a lot of these current artists that are doing this are very reticent to even admit that that's part of their show. And when cornered, they often blame one or two things. Of course, we've covered everybody else is doing it many times on this channel, but there has arisen a new blamee, and that, of course, is MTV. Some of these artists are stating that when MTV came out, man, then the audience was demanding absolute perfection. I mean, those videos and the production around them. Bullshit. MTV was all the rage, and the Police played live a three-piece kicking ass all over planet Earth. You nutcases don't know what you're freaking talking about. Rich and shameless you may be, but I'll never shut my mouth, and shame on every single damn one of you. You know, folks, we are the consumer. We deserve to get what we pay for. Do you know what the third issue was that these idiots blamed for using backing tracks? That was the expensive tickets. Well, everybody's paying so high, they expect perfection, man. We gotta give them perfection. Bullshit number two. Actually, number 3 or 4 or 5 at this point, right? I'll chicken and the egg that little nonsense in a half a second. Ticketmasters, venue promoters, those who run ancillary equipment like light shows and additional amps and snake cords across the stage, and those who have concessions, often with the band's t-shirts, have all been the main reason we've seen high ticket prices, all right? And people have paid accordingly. And I have never heard a single soul in my life say, well, you know, if I'm gonna pay these high prices, I demand that there better at least be backing tracks. I want perfection. Holy morons unite. All right, so here's my whole deal in a nutshell. When you go see a rock concert, at least that's what I tend to go see. It's a live event. Let's keep it live. Let's keep ourselves breathing. Let's demand more, and let's end this nonsense. All right, a bit of a rant, I admit, tonight, but if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps the YouTube algorithm better identify the channel to a larger audience. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, I've said this so many times until I'm blue in the face, folks, but it is easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, then tap that top bell icon, and you'll be notified of all of my future videos the moment that they're uploaded. All right, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. Am I off base on this, folks? Because I'm starting to feel like almost that old cranky man was going, well, back in my day. But some things need to stay firm in my mind. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line, and folks, we are the tribe, and I'll see you in my next video.